Welcome back, everyone, to this week's Gleg Reviews. This week we finally got to the, I guess, highly anticipated sequel to the movie that took the world by storm all those years ago, Puss in Boots. We saw Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish. I thought it was quite good. That was probably some of the best animation I have seen in quite a while from any movie. And it was just a dinky kind of Pixar sequel, DreamWorks sequel. We get some of the best animations I've ever seen. Florence Pugh was in it, so it's automatically a 10 out of 10.
Everybody loves somebody sometime.
I can't wait for the spin-off series with Goldilocks because that's all I care about.
Sometime.
No, it was good. It's really fun seeing Anthony Banderas in this role. He really just gets to let loose, it seems. I liked the character of Puss in Boots more in this one than I did the first. He had come into his own, but also come into his own again throughout this movie. It was good to see some of the old cast, but with some new cast. For a minute there, we got the original Shrek plot with Grumpy Guy and Happy-Go-Lucky Companion. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I'd give this. I don't have any qualms about it. It was funny. It had some good jokes in there for the adults, but definitely nothing that kid like inappropriate for kids, as far as I remember. Just good jokes, good story. I really liked the villain. The villain was a very good villain, very spooky. I don't remember much of the soundtrack, so I'd probably say I'd give it like a between a 7 and an 8. Like, I quite enjoyed it. I was surprised at how good that movie was.
You said a 7 or an 8,
Yeah, between a 7 and an 8.
so like 7.5 would probably be.
Sure. Feeling generous. 7.5.
I'm glad we're bringing that back.
It never left.
It didn't. It really didn't.
I'll go next because I am sort of a outlier in this group. I've not seen the Shrek movies, so this is like my first sort of full movie introduction into the Shrekverse. I don't know what it's called or if it has a formal name, but the DreamWorks Shrek universe, I guess. Animation was good. Liked it. Thought it was wonderful. I liked a lot more of the side characters more so than the main characters. I think that's just because it's a sequel it's a sequel on a spin-off of the main character's introduction, so I think that has something to play with it. Like you, Andrew, I can't really think of anything about the soundtrack that really stuck out to me except for Death Song where he whistles.
Oh yeah,
That's
no,
the
that
one
was
thing I
that
do
was
like.
great.
I didn't know Florence Pugh was Goldilocks, but now that you say that, I can see why you ranked it that high. Yeah, it's the same story as It's a Wonderful Life, but it's in Puss in Boots form. At least the story with Puss in Boots and Death kind of go with,
Yeah,
and that sort of Puss in Boots kind of goes down. It's more so that story with some other sort of stuff in the middle or surrounding it to some degree. But yeah, no, thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10. I reserve the right to change it depending on how I whether or not that changes when I go watch the other Shrek movies or the first Puss in Boots. But I'll give it an 8 out of 10 for now. It'll probably change whether good or bad, but it'll probably change to some degree.
so wait, so you hadn't even seen the first one?
No,
Oh,
haven't seen the first one. Haven't seen any of the Shrek movies. So
I thought it was better
I
than the
told
first.
you it was. I like the animation. I like the attention to detail. I like the way that they brought in a whole bunch of like random characters from like nursery rhymes and fairy tales and had
That's
like
the
this sort of
that's the
reimagining.
whole shtick
I know that's the whole
of
shtick, but what I'm saying
Shrek.
is like I know that's the whole shtick.
Okay.
But I like the way that they did it in this one with the Three Bears and Goldilocks. Jack Quarter, which I wouldn't have even thought of. I heard it, the story maybe like here and there. Don't remember it much, but having seen that character, just be like, well, okay. Having seen a whole bunch of treasure troves, of sort of like Easter eggs for like the animators, what you could tell the animators were having fun with that when they had like unicorn horn, Cinderella's boot, Jiminy Cricket in a jar. You could tell they probably enjoyed making that sort of cabinet of treasure troves that he had. Him taking out Mary Poppins' bag and the bottomless bag and just filling it. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Can't really think of anything else.
I only had one real problem with this movie, and that was with the fact that dog cursed quite a bit. It was bleeped out, but still, for a children's movie, that one caught me by surprise. I know that was more for the adults, but still, for a children's animated movie that's Shrek, uh, that one caught me off guard just a little bit.
No, I think it's on par.
Eh, I think like having it once, but then having it where it was just that whole insult slur that was just back to back to back. I'm like, okay, that's taking it just a bit too far for a children's movie, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one.
That's really the only problem I had with the whole movie. Um, but other than that, I thought it was great. The dog really kept me invested in this movie. All in all, I'm not sure if it's just the personality of being tossed in a river, tied up in a sock, or not. I think that was probably the saddest, funniest story I've ever heard. But all in all, I enjoyed the movie. That was the only problem. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think it was, I don't know if it was better than the first one, in my opinion. Um,
Story more.
I think I enjoyed the first one more because it was more of an adventure. This one more was finding himself.
Yeah, no, the first one definitely was, I guess, more of an adventure.
Yeah. Um, So honestly, they're both good standalone movies. If you don't want to watch, if you haven't watched the first one, I think this is a good standalone movie,
Yeah,
in and of itself. I really did enjoy the fact of Goldilocks and that whole storyline around her throughout
That
this
was,
whole movie. I think if it wasn't for that and having that group of characters, I don't think the movie would have been as intriguing as it was because it really drove home the force of he needs to learn to live his each life one at a time to the fullest instead of kind of just throwing them away a little bit.
it was a good story. It was fun. There was much criticism. It was very funny. I understand where you're coming from with the point of the dog. Hold on. It is PG, PG, PG. I think without the cussing and make it G.
Probably. Um,
I feel like it's that weird demographic where it's like 13 and you got to find where's too far and where's what's too kid like.
yeah. I think even without the cursing, this movie would have been phenomenal. Um, I understand that
That
was
was a
more
good
for
joke
the,
for us
well, yeah, yeah.
as as like a parent taking my 10-year-old to see the next Shrek piece. I would have been like, whoa.
Yes, and that's mostly why I brought it up.
wait, you're a parent?
No,
Oh,
not apparently.
uh,
Hold on, I gotta find the rhyme now.
For
Jack Order.
The first Shrek movie. Don't make waves, stay in line, and we'll get along fine. Duloc is a perfect place. Duloc is a perfect place.
yeah,
Please keep off the grass. Shine your shoes, wipe your face. And that's like in the first Shrek. But that
yeah,
one's
which
not
I mean,
as in
that
your
one,
face as
yeah, that wasn't like it was noticeable, but that one was kind of pushed under the rug a little bit. This one, having it once, I'm like, oh, that's kind of you can overlook that, but then having it just slurred like that, I was like, all right, that's pushing it a bit much.
Or it was like constant right after the other.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, okay, they need to calm down just a little bit.
I do, however, think so. Do you either give children a bunch of really good insults or just insinuate a bunch of curse words?
Honestly, I think Goldilocks' insults was probably way better.
I would rather have my little kids running around not having a whole bunch of insults that they can now use.
I mean, that kind of built character, in my opinion. So rather the insults, I'm with Zach on this one, but I get your point.
I know, I know.
I am intrigued though with the ending of this movie. Is it they're going to make another Shrek piece?
I would assume that's what they're insinuating, but if anything else, they could be making
Or
like
is it
just a short.
or is it like another like Puss in Boots? Because apparently Puss in Boots has been having a TV show and everything as well. And it's
Maybe
Yeah,
got
they're
four
setting
or
up for
five
that. I don't
seasons
know.
of it. Yeah,
I'm
it's got
finding
like
it.
4 or 5 seasons.
Oh, okay. Well, I would assume that they're either setting up for another project of some kind with that end credit scene or with that epilogue sort of scene.
Yeah, so
With either
I'm
another
kind of
Shrek movie or with
excited with
another
the fact
show of some
of
kind.
As far as I know, there's no plans for a Shrek 5.
it could be another Puss in Boots, just they're going to like or leading into their TV show with Puss in Boots. I don't know.
Or maybe they just don't know what
No,
to do at the moment.
there was no plans.
Or maybe they just don't know what to do right now, so they're leaving it open ended for them to come back
I
to it.
mean,
I That's
possibly.
something that
That
could be.
after credit scene was literally the directors being like, "We're paying homage to the Shrek franchise and where
I mean,
this
that's fair.
movies came from."
I
We
mean,
had,
that's fair.
yeah, there was
Yep.
no motive behind it.
Um,
That
I'm still impressed that they're doing anything for Shrek because it's been how many years?
2 decades.
I was about to say close to two decades. No, yeah, close to 2 decades. I don't think it's been quite 2 decades yet.
Since what, the first Shrek or Shrek
It's been
4?
over 2 decades.
Has it been?
2001.
Since the first Shrek, right?
Yeah, apparently. I
Okay.
thought it came out like 2003, 4, 3. No, that would still be 2 decades by now.
Zach's trying to do math might be here a while.
Well, it's not that. It's me slowly realizing just how old I am.
Yeah, a year older than me. That's not that.
Yeah, but when you add up like movies that you watched when you were a child and you realize they've been out for 20 odd years, you're like, that's a lot older than I thought.
Every once in a while, a TikTok that will come across that's like songs that turn 20 in this year, songs that turn 15 this year. And I'm like, oh, okay, wow, this would be cool. And then I see it and I'm like, oh, I feel old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm in the same boat.
And then somebody older catches you and is like, you haven't seen anything. You don't know what you're talking about. Just
Yeah,
wait.
no, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I've already heard that too. So thank you everyone for sticking with us and listening to our rant as on just talk of this movie, Puss in Boots. Um, join us next week as we watch and give our review over the new movie Cocaine Bear.